Question 10. Bony nasal cavity. The nasal cavity goes from the anterior nasal aperture to the posterior nasal aperture. The borders of the anterior nasal aperture is the maxilla and the nasal bones. The posterior nasal aperture is bordered by sphenoid bone, the body, and the medial plate of pterygoid process, and of the palatine bone, the horizontal plate. The posterior nasal aperture, also called choane, looks like this from behind. Now the roof of the nasal cavity is made up of nasal bones, frontal bone, cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, and body of sphenoid bone. The floor is made up of palatine process of maxilla and horizontal plate of palatine bone. The lateral wall is made up of nasal bone, lacrimal bone, the nasal surface of the body of maxilla, and the frontal process of maxilla, the medial plate of ethmoid bone, the perpendicular plate of palatine bone, and the medial plate of pterygoid process of sphenoid bone, and also inferior nasal concha. The nasal septum is made up of perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone and the vomer bone. You have structures inside the nose that are called nasal conchae. You have superior, middle, and inferior nasal conchae. Inside of them you have inferior nasal meatus underneath, middle nasal meatus, and superior nasal meatus underneath the superior nasal concha.